Schedule day, schedule day, schedule day, schedule day. You thought the news was over. You thought you were ready to go watch some NFL football. Well, surprise, the NBA decided to step in once again and say, no, not quite yet. It's still the NFL preseason, and we're still in the NBA offseason, and we've got one more surprise for you, and it's called Schedule Release Day. The full schedule is out for the Charlotte Hornets. I'm Doug Branson. This is not a serious Hornets podcast. David Walker may join. He may not join. We'll see if we get that surprise appearance from him. But I'm going to talk about what I think my just instant reaction to getting this schedule in my hands. I have a few stats for you on the schedule, longest home stands, longest road streaks, that kind of thing. I just really want to look at this together, go through this schedule, see the games. I got my pen out. Hope you have your pen out right now. Let's circle some things on this schedule right now, some games that will be interesting to watch, some games that are on national television, some games that you may want to check out in the Spectrum Center. And just as I say that, I just saw Mr. David Walker jump in. He's getting his audio figured out. That's fine. We'll get to him in just a second. But it is NBA schedule day. We're going to look at this thing together. I'm going to go ahead and pop it on the screen right now. Let's kill the overlay. Let's go into this mode so we can get it as big as possible. David, you just chime in whenever you get that microphone of yours figured out. But here it is, folks. Boom. Charlotte Hornets regular season schedule. I'll scroll. Don't worry. Let's start in October, home against Indiana. The season opener is at home. It is in the Spectrum Center, and it is on Wednesday, October 20th at 7 o'clock p.m. Game at Brooklyn. So it's Indiana, Cleveland, Brooklyn, Boston, Orlando, Miami, Portland. I'd say that's a good mix of difficult games and a couple of winnable ones against Indiana, against Cleveland, against Orlando. Again, possibly even winnable against Portland, certainly. And then you see, I'm just going to spoil it right now, 4 games on national TV, what I count as national TV. David, I heard you. David.
I'm
Can
here.
you hear me?
Could you feel the presence? You know what I love about this? Right off the bat, they went back. They ran the play-in game back. It was so enthralling.
Yes.
Opening night.
Yes.
It's a rematch. It's a revenge game. That's what it is. A revenge game for the Hornets.
Oh, my God.
You don't think JB is not already working on that? Come on.
Oh, listen, they all are. They were, remember those post-game press conferences from Terry and from Miles. These guys were really disappointed in how all of that turned out. You're absolutely
Watch out, Andy.
Right. What, you know what? Props to the schedulers for getting that one together. Yeah, Indiana. Let's get some vengeance. Vengeance is nigh for the Charlotte Hornets. 4 national TV games. David would say technically they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, I see way more than 4 out there.
7,
they don't just
8.
put that third column out there for non-national TV games, Doug. We've got to get over this. Those are maybe the only games I can watch. Well, not the NBA TV ones. We'll see.
For the new listeners or viewers, David and I have argued about this for years. I haven't been able to convince him that NBA TV does not count as a national TV game. My one and really only argument that matters here is that it's not a national TV game if you don't have national announcers. NBA TV
no.
utilizes
so
the
every
local
Mike
announcers.
Breen game on ESPN is considered just a Knicks home game, local game. Is that what you're saying?
See, these are called red.
These are fluid positions. Okay.
Now you're taking one, basically exception and applying as the rule. There's I believe it's called a red herring argument.
Now, what flex options do we have? Could we see more national TV games? Could we see some flexed out? I noticed the last game of the season in Washington still TBD. I'm assuming that's just the timing of it, but
you could be flexed into national TV games. You could also be flexed into some possible COVID makeup games, maybe.
Yeah.
So there's There's all kinds of issues. They had a few games, including one against Washington, that had to be rescheduled towards the end of last season. So that's an important point, that this schedule sort of remains always in flux as long as COVID has the possibility to reschedule a game. I don't know. I mean, it's all Eastern Conference in April, so possibly that game against Miami is relevant to the standings. I don't see Orlando being a contender. If Chicago, if all of their free agency things worked out in their favor and the Hornets are contending, that could possibly be a flex as well. So certainly, I see some opportunity. But you're getting way ahead of you. You're already in April. I was just trying to look at October. You're just zooming ahead all of a sudden. I want to.
So we got a 4 o'clock, a matinee game on Sunday
Brooklyn.
in Brooklyn. Okay, all right.
See, I like that. I think that gives the Hornets a little bit of an advantage. That you get the weird time for the. It's already weird for the away team. They're away, so I like the 4 o'clock, the afternoon, the matinee games when you're away. Not so much when you're at home and you're already in your groove. And it's early in the season, and I don't think it will affect them as much. Let's see, matinee games late in the season. You've got.
Let me say something for Carolina sports fans. The Panthers are at the Giants at 1 o'clock, and then you could just go on down, take the train, go to the Hornets at the Nets game same day. So New York City weekend, if you're interested.
Wow, New York City. Are you asking me? Are we trying to plan a trip?
Listen, I don't know.
It's gonna be a tough time as my child is due that week.
That's right.
So it might be a tough week for me.
Let's see what happens. Why not?
All right. Well, you're right. Let's.
Although I will say you'd have to probably leave the Panthers game at halftime to have any hope of making that 4 o'clock tip. But we can figure it out. We can workshop that.
All right, let's get to this. We got some chats already. Danny in the chat. December looks brutal. Let's look at December. Let's scroll down. We obey the chat on this. Show. All right, December. We start off at Milwaukee. Oof, that's tough. At Atlanta. They're good now. That's tough. 2 games against Philadelphia.
Back to back.
Both at home. The rare home back to back.
Like a little bit of a homestand that week. So 2 Sixers games and rounded out Friday night against the Kings. Okay.
Sacramento always thinks they've improved.
And then the West Coast road trip. Ooh,
oh yeah,
boy.
Man. You stack these Eastern Conference contenders on top of the West Coast roadie. Dallas, San Antonio, Portland, Phoenix, Utah, Denver. Man, they really like no gimmies in the. I mean, maybe San Antonio, but
I'll tell you what, Sunday, Monday, that's a Phoenix, Utah back-to-backer. Oh boy, yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna test their mettle for sure.
Yeah, that'll be at least it's an early test. I mean, late. Brooklyn, Denver, New York, Utah, New York, New Orleans, Dallas, Atlanta. Yeah, it's kind of tough late too. We'll get into the stats on sort of home games versus away games, but I'm seeing a lot more home late. Yeah, I think there's probably way more home in the back half, which is typical of a Hornets schedule. They like the home games late, and they like the away games in the winter. Although they do have a considerable number of. I think they spend a lot. Yeah, look at this. So they've got a 5-game road trip in November. 5 out of the 6 in the back half of November are away. And then they've got the West Coast roadie in December. Like, you're barely going to see the Hornets for the first few months of the season. And then once January hits, 2022, a lot of home games. So that's interesting. All right, let's get to another chat from Danny. I predict a pretty rough start, but we take advantage of all those home games in the spring and rally back to the play-in tournament. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I would say this team is constructed to play well early just because they're going to be so fast and so good on offense and probably not as well constructed for the playoffs or maybe when things get tight down the stretch. So maybe those counter forces will work in the Hornets' favor. I'm trying to look for positives here.
I'm looking at the New York matinee on Martin Luther King Day there, Doug. They're at the Knicks, 1 o'clock Monday. I'm surprised that's not kind of on some sort of national TV, but It's been a while since they had one of those in Charlotte, but I guess they're back on the. I guess they usually play that day, but a matinee game in New York on a Monday.
And then they follow that up, Boston. You get the ESPN game against Boston. They ESPN hasn't gotten the word yet that Kimba's out of Boston.
Kimba's no longer there.
Yeah, it's not. In fact, the New York game would have been better for that reunion. So let's look at who they play on the. And I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the NBA TV games. I'm only looking at the ESPN games.
Sure. Okay.
So they play Miami, Golden State. They play Boston. And Chicago. That's interesting. Oh, LaMelo, Lonzo.
Oh, duh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then
here's a good question, David. How many years before? So in all of these games, except arguably Chicago, the Hornets are not the marquee attraction. The Hornets, because they have LaMelo, they're getting a few more games. Like really double. Typically, they only get 2. They've got 4 this year on ESPN. Not on TNT. That's a disappointment. But how long before Charlotte is the main attraction in a game?
You mean of this slate, or
no.
To start a season?
No, in the future. How many years are you giving before the Hornets are the reason people would watch? Because still, it's going to be.
I just read that GQ article again on LaMelo. I think it's next season. Come next time, we'll be talking. We'll be talking TNT, ESPN, Bally's. No, not Bally's. NBA TV, whatever you want. They'll be on all the outlets, I think.
All right, hit us up on the chat right now. Your thoughts on the schedule. What are you circling on your? I'm serious. I got my pen out. I'm going to circle a few games that I may travel back to Charlotte.
I was going to say, what are the? We have to get away from October, probably.
Yeah, October. We're going to have to give myself a little bit of paternity leave, probably through November, December, maybe into January when we hit these home games. So, would love that Friday, the 28th, right after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a trip there against the Lakers, 7:00. Let me scroll down to it, and just catch the Clippers while I'm there. Just do a little Lakers Clippers doubleheader. I like that. I usually spend time with the fam here in Nashville for a few days, but then typically by the 26th we're kind of done with Christmas, and everybody kind of goes back and does their own thing. So that could possibly be a little. Bundle the baby up and do a game.
Yeah, so right around Christmas, the week of Christmas, they're on the road on that West Coast swing. They're back 2 days after Christmas for a Houston game, and then the New Year's week they got a couple sprinkled in there. So for the holiday crowd looking to catch a game while they're in town, there's a few options.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving,
you got Minnesota. That's a winnable one at least.
Yep, that's the Friday after Thanksgiving. Only one there for Thanksgiving week. And then no Valentine's game. Sorry, lovebirds. Won't be able to celebrate Valentine's Day with your Hornets. But they do have a Saturday night game leading up to that against Memphis on the 12th.
What day is St. Patrick's Day this year?
Boy,
that's not one of those holidays. It's the same day, right? St. Patrick's Day 2021 is, drum roll, the 17th of March. Maybe it is. Maybe it's always.
I feel like it's always on the 17th.
My bad. Okay, good. That's I always hated when I did. So when I lived in Charlotte, I lived near downtown or uptown. Sorry, and it's downtown Nashville. Forgive me. So I lived near the city, and whenever there was a Hornets game on the same day as St. Patrick's Day, because there is a huge bar crawl in uptown on St. Patrick's Day, it was a nightmare. Like it was a nightmare going to the game was a mess. Getting to the game was a mess. So no worries there. No game.
Oh boy, look at this.
You do the homestand.
October 31st, Halloween, Portland, 7:00 at home.
Spooky, scary. Against Portland.
Yeah, now that might work out because I'm guessing a lot of the trick-or-treating will be done Saturday night as opposed to going out on Sunday night. That's just a guess. I'm sure some hardcore trick-or-treaters will still get out there on the traditional holiday of the 31st, but that might be a cool way to spend Halloween as well
Well,
with the
how do
Hornets.
you do it? What's your strategy? Are you a traditionalist, or do you try to get to a little fall fest beforehand and get the candying out of the way?
Yeah, these days, Sunday's tough. You're getting back into the grind. You're starting to get your head, back into school and work mode. So I say do it Friday and Saturday. Maybe your neighborhood has like a nice little get together, something like that. But I say definitely go for it Saturday. Just be prepared. I think is the main focus there. Have your candy ready to go. I would start Friday. If it's me, I'm starting Friday.
What's your go-to Halloween candy
For me or to give out?
for you? What do you want?
Yeah,
What do you
yeah,
want to receive?
Butterfingers is my I think Butterfingers is my number one. Then I like a Snickers and a Twix.
Okay, thank you. That was good ranking.
Yeah.
So we just looked at the schedule. December is a hell month for the Charlotte Hornets. There's no getting around it. But what do you think about the schedule overall? I mean, do you think does it look rough for the Hornets? Does it look generally favorable for the Hornets? We're going to get analysis of the schedules for everyone soon, where people with better calculators than us will analyze these schedules in terms of strength of schedule. But just first glance, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean that December is a great call. Was it Daniel who called that out for us? I mean, only
Daniel
four
and
home
Chad.
games. Four home games in the month of December. Not ideal, but you know what? Sometimes these teams surprise us, right? Sometimes they bond over that West Coast road trip and they sneak up on some teams. So there's certainly some ground to be made up there. Like if they can do anything with that December month, then they can position themselves pretty well the rest of the way. But that is going to be a tough one. So I think November makes November, even more important, right? To get off to a good start, especially October, November, hit the ground running, and then just kind of keep your head above water in December, if not better. But that December, 4 home games, man, 9 on the road. That's rough.
Yeah, I mean, I think generally, if I had to make a prediction just on my first glance, I think the Hornets are going to be in the upper half of strength of schedule, if not near the top. I mean, the schedule does look the West teams that they drew just across the board look tough, and it's just going to depend on how well the East plays. But I do like. There's a couple things that I do like in the schedule. One, all the back half home games, which are typical, so no surprise there. But I do like that. I like, and I think this is, by the way, I think this is a team that will get better as the year goes on. I don't think this is a team that typically they didn't really fade. Oh, they faded right at the very end of the year. But injuries were a factor. If this team's healthy,
Sure. The very end.
I think they're going to get better. They're a young team, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I like the fact that going into the All-Star break, it's not brutal. Some teams get like a brutal road trip right before the All-Star break. So I like that. I think they can get some momentum heading into the All-Star break. Toronto, Chicago, Detroit, Memphis, Minnesota, Miami. I mean, it's mixed. I think they could.
So that's your All-Star break right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I like is October doesn't look crazy dead late. I mean, they had to play like Clippers and Lakers back to back in October last season, I believe. And
Look, yeah, October, if you're looking for upside right there, like you like that Indiana home, you certainly don't mind going to Cleveland for your second game, get through Brooklyn, Boston at home, certainly feasible. Magic, Heat, Portland. That's your chance to kind of jump out. And if you think back to last year, of course, when everybody was healthy, and they started to gel, they kind of got on a good run before the latter portions of the season when they did have some injuries. But I was trying to see, Doug, it looks like that mini West Coast trip in November and then that hellish one in December. I was trying to see if there's another cluster of games here where they got to do a big West Coast swing, but I didn't see one.
No, those are the two Westies, and then they don't really have any big road trips after that. Really just 2 games out, and then you're back home for the rest of the year.
So that's a plus.
That's definitely a plus. Again, yeah, as Danny said, I mean, you get through the first part of the year, and you're not 10 games under 500, and you've got a shot to really compete. No surprises here. The Hornets tend to, want to get these Saturday, Sunday, Monday games. So
they want those Friday home games too. That's where the bulk of them are.
Yep. Games by division by month. So yeah, nothing really strange there. Pretty equal throughout. All right, here's what people want to know. Back to back, 3 home backs, 15 total. I think that's going to end up being a pretty average. The dreaded away back to back is only 3. That's nice. And then they get 3 home and homes. Home and home against the same opponent. No home and homes this year. They did have the rare Philadelphia home and also again at home against the same opponent. 3 games in 4 days, 23, 5 games in 7 days. All right, see, here's another one. This is what Clifford used to point out, these 5 games in 7 day stretches. This is, a lot of people talk about back-to-backs and wanting to reduce those, and certainly that's something you want to do. But this is the thing that they really needed to reduce because that was the killer, just not getting a couple days rest. They only have one of those from 3/22 to 28, which is in March. Yeah, so it's going to, it is right there in that stretch. New Orleans, New York, Utah, Brooklyn, Denver. That's going to be pretty brutal. And we talked about sort of the back half being easy, but that's going to be tough.
You do have most of those at home, though, so you're only going out to Brooklyn. So at least, maybe you can hang your hat on that, being home as opposed to traveling. But yeah, that's especially that late in the season too, right? I mean, it's who knows what shape the roster will be in from a health standpoint, but that is, that's one that can really wear you down.
Yeah, look at this. This is just crazy. So road trips of 3 or greater, 6 games. That's the big West Coasty. That's in December. Then 5 games November, 4 games November, 3 games November.
Yeah.
And then the only one in the back half of the schedule is the 3-gamer from March to going into April, right at the end of the season. New York, Philadelphia, Miami. So there was one. This one right here, New York, Philadelphia, Miami. But I think, man, I'm just telling you, like, I don't know, just to my eye, I think it's other than the huge discrepancy between the front half of the schedule and the back half, I think it's generally constructed well for the Hornets in that I'll have to see how it averages out with the rest of the league for the back-to-backs, but you don't have multiple 5 games in 7 day stretches. You do get some big home stands, but I just think I'm just looking at this, man, and I'm just seeing a lot of tough teams, and not a ton of gimmies.
They're all pros.
I'm just thinking the Hornets. If I had to make a guess, I think the Hornets are going to come out towards the top of the. But you never know as well. I mean, some of these teams that look good on paper because of how they perform, like Boston, for example. Like, I don't know what's Boston going to. Are they going to be? Are they going to be able to keep it together?
Chicago, who knows? Toronto, who knows? I mean,
that's true. Yeah, I'm making some assumptions here.
I mean, Denver won't have Murray. The Clippers won't have Kawhi. So who knows? Philly, God knows what they'll look like. I mean, who will be there?
I think Philadelphia is going to be good.
I think they're going to be fine, but I don't know what their team's going to look like.
Why are you hating on Philadelphia? If you got some Sixers fans.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard about it. There's been some interior strife in the offseason. They're trying to figure some things out, but yeah, they're obviously they're going to have some talent.
And there's the discrepancy right there in just plain English. 17 home in the first half, 24 roads, 24 home in the back half, 17 road games. And then there are your road stretches. So your longest road trip is 6, but you got 7 out of 8 games on the road. Again, I mean, you're essentially on the road from the 20th of November until the end of December.
The New Year's.
You want to pack several bags if you're a member of the Charlotte Hornets. You're gonna be away for a while. That's tough too.
Hey, man. You know what? Like,
tough on the families.
Let's be honest. Being secluded in a controllable environment on the road may not be the worst thing. We'll see how things shake out here as the season gets going, but who knows? Have they said anything about like testing in general, like how they're going to handle that this year? If they're going to go back to what they did last year, or are they just kind of waiting to see? Because I mean, the Hornets at full capacity in their video. I don't know if you saw the video they tweeted out with our guy EC. He was chirping full capacity. So they're at least now they're going that way.
Yeah, and we'll see what they're, if how many of the, especially interior. I mean, you look at a situation in the NFL with the New Orleans Saints saying we got to see vaccine or negative COVID test, and that's interior. So what do these
Yeah.
NBA arenas decide to do? It's like full capacity, yes, but we need to see X, Y, and Z. We'll just have to kind of. I'm sure they're monitoring it. The situation's changing right now, especially in the South. The situation's changing week to week. It certainly is here in Tennessee. So,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something you want to kind of keep on your toes, and also get vaccinated. It's safe, it's effective.
Yes, do that. Do that. Well, the Panthers will require people to wear masks inside, whatever that means. No one's really sure if that means concourse, lower level, in your seats. I think in my seat, if I were to go, I feel like I would have a mask on because that's where you're super close to people. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, and this is relevant to the Charlotte Hornets, by the way, because you had several players last year miss time due to health and safety, and we sort of kind of code this language towards COVID. But it was, Miles Bridges, it was Malik Monk. There may be a few others. And then I think Miles and PJ, didn't they both miss essentially
the USA
they were part
trials?
They were part of the USA training group that got the actual group that went to Tokyo, get them ready. So they were all scheduled to play that, and then they had to step out because of COVID. So hopefully the Hornets as an organization are doing everything they can to encourage vaccinations because it matters, especially in a sport like basketball where you don't have as many roster spots. So, and I think it speaks, honestly, I think it speaks to some of the strategy that some of these teams are employing in terms of who they have under contract, two-way contracts, really making those count because, with COVID, you may have to rely on Kubica. You may have to rely on Scotty Lewis. And it's good that the Hornets, I think, have players in those positions that it's not a ridiculous thing to think about Kubica or Scotty Lewis getting run for a game or two. And now, you start to get worried if that extends beyond that. But they've got some players that showed well in Summer League and would be exciting to see for a game or two.
Yeah, I'm guessing they must have been monitoring that in Summer League, right? I mean, maybe I'm just missed if someone
nope,
sat
it's
out.
Vegas, baby. Anything goes in Vegas. They just forget all about it. It's Vegas.
Oh, we laugh. We laugh.
Oh, it's this pandemic is not fun for fans of their teams and for anyone that's struggling with it, obviously. Okay. On that amazing note, we're going. I think we should.
That's how you do it, guys. That's how you wrap it up.
That's how you close the show, folks. We're just showing people how it's done. Thank you for joining. If you enjoyed this, hit us up on Patreon, patreon.com/HornetsPod. It helps keep the lights on here. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the subscribe button because it'll let you know when we go random live like this. When news breaks, we want to jump on here and take your chats and go live. Thanks everyone for supporting the show, for watching, and we'll see you next week. We'll have some more analysis and have some more thoughts as we continue to pour over the schedule. Go Hornets, go America. Let's swarm Charlotte.